Hey TriDot coaches, Coach Rhea here, and today I'm going to take you through a really quick run through of the TriDot coaches portal and platform. There'll be lots of subsequent videos that show you how to and get you into the deep, more granular issues of the platform, but I want to show you where everything is so we can get you prepared to move your athletes over and know exactly where it is and get your athletes set up. Okay, so the first page I want to show you is your login page in your coach's portal. When you log in, this is the page that you're going to see. You've got two tabs at the top here, and the first one is your athlete page. This is where you can find your athletes that sign in or sign up to TriDot with you. Here you can search via athlete name, surname or first name. You can also filter all your athletes. So you can either choose to have all or your TriDot and your RunDot athletes. You can select which tier people are on. So your premium coached athletes, Mark Allen, complete, essentials, and lifestyle. And you can also filter through athletes that are active or on trial, or their trial may have expired, they've had a failed payment, or they've actually canceled. You can also, if you've got a bunch of athletes that are doing one big race, you can also filter through the races that you have your athletes coming up from, okay? Now, once you have your full list of athletes, you'll see that you can see their names, and under that, what subscription level they are. Here, you can actually see their user details. So you can get their telephone number, their email address, their height, their weight, their BMI. It also states what their training preferences is. So whether they're on low, high, or medium volume of training, if they have any rest days, or which days they've opted or you have opted to select their long bike and run days. You can also add additional features for videos right here. Here is where you go into their user dashboard. So this will take you straight into their training plan and training area. You can get notifications for each athlete. So if you have some athletes that you need a much higher rate of communication with, or you want to see who's messaging you and when, you can select to get notifications via email. So here you can choose to have athlete notes emailed to you or any activity emailed you, and you can choose either or. This is a list of your athletes' swim, bike, and run ages. So this is the amount of years that they've been doing each sport for, or participating in each sport. And you can see here for these athletes, it's 1, 2, and 2. On this little tab here, this is your athlete's TrainX score. So this is how they've been adhering to their program over a 1 week, 4 week, and 8 week average. Just allows you to get a really good overview of what's happening with each athlete without having to delve deep into their program if you're doing a quick overview. It also gives you a list of all your athletes' upcoming races listed next to them, and each of your athletes' TriDot scores. So their swim dot, their bike dot, and their run dot. From here, you can go into athlete settings, and this is your preferences that the athlete and you can view as a standard. You can edit this, and here you have the option to see if your athletes are on premium or the Mark Allen edition. You can have those videos on or off. You can choose to have session guides on or off, and the drill and exercise walkthroughs on or off. You also can choose as a coach whether you want your coach landing page to be your athlete list or your notification portal. And I'll go through your notification list in just a minute. Finally, it depends on what sort of coaching you're doing in your methodology, but if you have a specific preference of how much of the program your athlete can see, you can specify whether your athlete can see 1 week, 2 week, or 3 weeks in advance. And that you can set here. It also changes what you can see as the coach as well. Although we can see farther into the future, irrespective of what you set that for. Right, once you've gone through your athlete list, the next tab on your portal is the notifications page. So here you can outline everything that's happening with your athletes in a list, okay? You can select all notifications. You can select session upload notifications. any account changes, so information, height, weight, sleep, anything like that. And if an athlete has changed any preferences. So maybe an athlete has sneakily upped their bike volume without telling you they were doing that. You actually get a notification to say that's happened. You can also toggle whether you prefer to see all of your notifications, your red notification, unread, or anything that you flagged that you need to come back to at a later date. And you have the option to decide whether you want your oldest notes first or your newest notes first. Also, something that I find really useful is you can sift through all of your notifications just to get your athlete notes. For me, my rule is athletes have to write a note after every single workout, and I really like to be able to see that, just those notes. And once you're finished reading through all of your notes, you can also click all read. And that is your notification portal. Once you've gone through those two, you might want to have a look at your settings page. So that is here right next to your name. And let's go into your profile. So your profile is where you can put all of your details. So your address, your contact telephone number, your social media links, so athletes can find those. You can also look at or update your athlete focus, the format that you prefer to coach, discipline focus, how long you've been coaching for, and the pricing currency that you coach in. You can update your biography to include your qualifications, your background, your coaching philosophy, about you. And also you can add here or request testimonials from your athletes. The more testimonials you have, the better this area looks. Your resources can be found here. So these are your links. These are your sign-up links to your 2-week trial. And if it's during the preseason project, you also get a link to your preseason project. You get the option to share it as a QR code or also as a link. So you can embed them however you want, wherever you want. You can add coaching photos of yourself, review coaching, whatever you prefer. And finally, you have the option to continuously review your agreement right here in the portal. So the next section that I think is really important, your account details. So this is where your £50 a month subscription to the platform is found. It shows you your billing history, your card details, and you can update that subscription here. Finally, your compensation. So this is where you will see all of your clients listed. So you will get your coach pay. So this is your premium athletes. And it's broken down into TriDot, RunDot, and Coach Brought. So if you've brought the athlete onto the platform, it's Coach Brought. It lists how many athletes you have. And then if TriDot has introduced you to athletes, they will be a TriDot Brought or a RunDot Brought athlete. And depending on what your non-coached revenue is, it tells you the revenue you've earned and the percentage at which it is paid out and the income that will be paid. You also can break this down into the athletes and who they are, and they'll be listed here in the athlete list. Commission is your non-coached revenue. So all the athletes on every other level of subscription that have signed up with your links will be listed here. It also lists your premium subscription referrals. So any athletes that you have introduced to other coaches will be paid out at 15%. And any athletes that you have on the platform that are uncoached will be paid out to you at 30%. And at the end of each month, it tallies up here and you can see what your payout will be. Your payout will be paid 1 week after the month in which the athlete has paid. So if the athlete paid in January, you'll get paid the first week of February. Okay. So that is your coaches portal. This is where you can access all of the information that you need that isn't athlete focused, it's coaching focused. Now let's have a look at what your portal looks like when you go into an athlete's program. So if you go into the athlete dashboard and click select, your page will open up just like this. So you might be bringing on athletes right now and you just need to know where everything is so you can make sure that their TriDot scores are accurate, their thresholds are accurate, their races are accurate, and you're happy with how the training looks as they're onboarding. So I'm going to quickly run through the platform for you so you can see where everything is, and you can navigate it as easy as possible. So on the sidebar menu here, you have the main subjects that you're going to be looking for. So you have train, RaceX, engage, metrics, and diagnostics. Okay. Your TriDot scores can always be found at the top of the page. And if you're coaching a RunDot athlete, they will just have their RunDot score. And this gives you their progress on a 1 to 100 scale. So 1 being barely moving and 100 being world record pace for their age group and gender. It just gives them a really good benchmark as to where they are and how their progress is happening as they train with you and on the platform. Okay, in order to double check how their thresholds are doing, you want to just update their threshold history. You might have been working them for a long time, so you know that their thresholds are accurate. They might have already been pulled in from another platform or previous data. And you can see here their swim, their bike, and their run data, okay? It doesn't always pull across accurately, so it's really good for you to fact check whether their thresholds are correct. Or if they're due a threshold test, you can set one, and that data should be imported for you. If you look at their run data or their bike or their swim data and they don't necessarily look as accurate as you'd like them to be, all you need to do is update with their most recent test that you're happy with by pressing on this pink cross here, which will add. Okay, remember with our platform, environment normalizes. So we want to make sure that we have the time of day that test was carried out, the location, and whether that test was carried out indoors or outdoors ahead of setting up this threshold, because that will change their thresholds depending on the environment in which it was carried out. Once you have all that information, you should be able to import a threshold, and it will be listed here for you with every subsequent threshold or previous threshold. You can look at your local threshold and also the EnviroNorm threshold as well, right here on this page. Intensities is a good one for you as a coach. Sometimes the athletes find this a little bit confusing, but this allows you to look at what their threshold zones will be in exactly the temperature, humidity, and elevation in which they're going to be training, which will change depending on where their threshold took place. So this is a really fun page for you guys to play around with in case your athletes are racing in a different location, or maybe they're going on a training camp that's a lot hotter or cooler than where they live, and you can see and adjust their zones accordingly in this area here, okay? Once you've got your athlete moved over, you then probably want to make sure that their race season is set and ready for them. So again, this is not a real athlete, so we can play around with it, but you'll go into the RaceX. It's a slightly separate app, but it's all integrated within the platform. Excuse me. And here you can add your races, okay? All Ironman and challenge races are listed in RaceX, but if the athlete is doing a race that you have never done before or isn't in the platform, that's no problem at all. You can add a custom race. So you just simply add what session, if it's an A, B, or C priority, bearing in mind that C races have no bearing on the training program that is tailored to each athlete, okay? A races take priority, B races are secondary, C races do not change the periodization or plan. Then at the moment you've got triathlon and running. There will be more multi-sports available very soon. And the race distance in which you would like that athlete to race. And here you have a list of all the races, if they are listed. If they aren't listed, then you can select a custom race here. And that's how you enter all of your races. Okay, so once the athlete has some races in their platform, that will dish out an entire season from today right through until the last race that they have on the plan, okay? That will change based on any additional races that you add during the season or maybe take away, but essentially you'll have your plan listed out for you. As a coach, you might be interested to know where those periodizations are, and they can be found when you click on the date here. And if you click on the date, it will tell you which phase the athlete's in. So this is a race prep phase, and any circles like this tells you that there's a change of phase happening. So it just gives you an idea of where you are. So that is where the periodization can be found. With your athlete, you want to make sure that you're happy with how this weekly schedule is set. And here, by doing that, you can go into calendar. So once you see the calendar view, you have this little menu button on the top right-hand side, which you can click, and you can modify their schedule or their sessions. Okay. Now this is what I would recommend you do when you want a consistent schedule. So you know that an athlete wants roughly the same schedule week in, week out. This will be your overarching schedule. If you have an athlete that, like I've got many that work shifts or do lots of traveling, what you can do is set a standard schedule here and then a simple drag and drop each week to make sure it suits their schedule for them. So here you've got schedule. You can nominate which day your athlete prefers their long bike, their long run, whether they would like strength sessions included in the workouts or in the weekly rhythm, and if they want a day off. Once you've dictated that, you can also then go into advanced schedule customization, because your athlete might not like how TriDot schedules their week. And that's totally fine. So you can actually go into advanced customization here and just drag and drop the sessions to the days that suit them most. So just say an athlete can't swim on a Monday. All you need to do is drag it to the day that works for them. And obviously my face is now in the way here. What you can also do is dictate where that workout is going to take place. So a lot of my athletes, especially in the winter, because I'm based in the UK, it's quite cold. So they tend to do their workouts indoors. So here you can actually specify whether your athlete is going to be outdoors or indoor and what time they're typically going to do that workout. We just happen to have a TriDot group ride at 6 a.m., an indoor group ride at 6 a.m. on a Tuesday. So for this athlete, I'm going to save it for that time and place. And it means that when the workout is exported to their favorite platform or to their wearable, it's exporting at the correct environment normalization for what they're going to be training in. And once you're happy with that, all you need to do is click yes, and that will update the schedule for you. You can also change the athlete's volume and session durations. So here we can specify how many swims, how many bikes, and how many runs an athlete can have. Now, if your athlete doesn't have any specific restrictions on when they can swim or when they can run, you can set this to the system dictating how many sessions there'll be. So whether it be low, standard, or high. Or you might find that an athlete's like, listen, I have to go to the pool on these days and it's the only time I can do it. You can make the system reflect what the athlete needs. So we can simply state here, fixed sessions. So maybe 2 swims, 3 bikes, and 2 runs, for example. Now, the system will give an athlete the warning. You as the coach can totally override that and just say, I understand, and that will set the week for you. And then you can save it. It will then give you a little note to say it needs to optimize. Just give it a few minutes and that will work through the system for you. Once you have their weekly rhythm all set, then you can do the minor adjustments like moving a strength session like this, like a drag and drop, or perhaps maybe they have got a wedding on Saturday and need a Sunday off, which they wouldn't normally do. So we can just move the set schedule around that suits them when you've spoken to them. Okay. The day view is here. And obviously now I've chosen an off day. And here you have a day view from the coach's perspective. So this here, an athlete won't see, nor will they be able to adjust any sessions. Okay, this is for you and you alone. When you see a workout, an athlete might message you and say, I don't have time to do 50 minutes today, I've only got 30. You can go in and adjust the plan by changing it to a shorter workout like this. Or perhaps the athlete has told you that they are feeling super tired and they're really worried about the swim. You can also change the intensity. So here, this athlete is due to be like a level 7 in terms of its intensity, but you could bring it down to a 4 or a 5. You press save and the system will optimize and change the workout to reflect the effort level that you want it to be and the planned time. Okay, the workout will then tell you whether it's a swim, the name of the session, at what time the workout is planned, the stress or NTS value that workout is going to give the athlete, and how long that workout is. This bar here tells you with a color code the stress, the amount of intensity in terms of stress. So purple is hard, zone 4 and above. You've got a medium blue here and then a light blue, which is easy. Okay. It also gives you the session XPs. So that is how much of the weekly workout this session is worth. The higher the session XPs, the more important that workout is for the athlete. And each session will be given session XPs. So if athletes are ever concerned about if they've missed 2 out of their 3 sessions in a week and they want to know which one to do, always go for the higher XPs. You can also dictate whether that workout is going to be indoor or outdoor by selecting that toggle, and that will change the intensities and zones that these athletes are working out depending on the environment changes and factors within that. Every workout has a warm-up, a main set, and a cool down. These lines here are actually links to workout videos to show athletes how to. So if they're ever confused or don't know what a drill is, they're there. Obviously, they can message you too. And then a session note and a video on what the purpose of that workout is for. Every single workout has a zone. So in this instance, we're working to pace because it's swimming. So the only change that you get to choose from is whether you want to see this in yards or meters. And then it gives you the zones in which this environment is aimed at and how long you're going to be in each zone. So for this particular workout, you've got 16 minutes in zone 1, easy recovery. You've got zone 2 work, you have zone 3 work, you have zone 4 work, you have zone 5 work. And it gives the athlete exactly what those zone paces are. So when they push the workout to their watch or they write it down to go to the pool, they can specifically see exactly what the workout is and at what pace they should be swimming. Here is where your athletes can write to you post-workout. So the coach communication, if they write it in here, will go straight to your inbox or give you a notification. Athlete notes are private notes for the athletes. We can see them as coaches, but we don't get notifications. So I always recommend the athletes to write in the coach communication because then we'll see it and be able to respond to them quicker. That's how your daily view looks, okay? When you go into the daily view, your athletes and you can see their total XPs. So this is how many XPs have they earned each week and overall. And it allows them to go into their XP and bonus area. So they can view their leaderboards, see how they're doing on their weekly XPs. It's all about the gamification of teaching them how to do the right sessions right and how to train appropriately to reduce their risk of injury. Also here, they can see, and you can see as your coach, the weekly TrainX score. So how well they've adhered to this week's workouts, their 4-week and their 8-week score. And if you've connected your Garmin, you can also see your daily metrics here that you've opted in for. Right, let's have a look at the weekly calendar now, just to show you some other metrics. So as we looked at that swim session, there was pace here. every single workout will have a metric to follow. So it will either be pace, power, or heart rate. And that tells you what it is with the little icon next to the time of day. It also tells you the time, the length and duration of the workout, the intensity, so what the stress is going to be, or the planned NTS. And it also gives you the session XPs. At the bottom of the bar here, this is your weekly TrainX score. So it gives you how long you are expected to swim, bike, and run for, as well as your strength. And as the athlete completes the week, this bar will increase with its performance, or the athlete's performance and ability. I believe that is a good overview of the calendar. So we've done RaceX. Engage is where your athlete can send you an email. So you might have strict rules on how your athletes communicate with you. And if you want it 100% through the platform, this is where they can message you. But they can also message you within each session as well. And then metrics. This is where you're going to find your fitness, stress, and readiness graphs. You can see composites or aggregates of everything, or you can look at individual disciplines. It will tell you what your residual training stress is, your 7-day residual training stress, your normalized training load, your readiness based on all of those numbers, and compare it with your TrainX score, okay? For any more information on this fitness, stress, and readiness graph, I'm going to refer you to some more reading. But this is effectively how your athlete is progressing, okay? The next graph to show you is, and I don't have a device connected, is your weekly training stress. So this shows with these graphs here, week on week, how your athlete is doing in terms of adherence to the program week on week. Again, I'll refer you to more reading on how this looks. But again, you can do swim, bike, and run, or a composite of everything. Same with your training stress profile. This is your athlete's ability to deal with their aerobic stress rating, their threshold stress rating, their muscular stress rating, and their neural stress rating. And that is broken down into swim, bike, and run. Okay. What it also gives you is their average aerobic stress per week and their average stress per month. You also get, in some circumstances, per session. And this is a scale of 0 to 1 to 10. Again, any more information on training stress profile, will send some additional reading for you. Okay. Finally, you can find diagnostics. So physiogenomics is if your athlete has done a 23andMe or an Ancestry DNA, you can download the genome and upload it into here. And this gives you and your athletes a really specific breakdown of their training intensity response rate, their aerobic potential, their recovery rate, and their injury disposition. If you upload your genome, these 4 metrics will help the system adjust really minor adjustments to reflect the aerobic potential, their training response rate, their injury disposition, and their recovery rate. So I, for example, have a lot more recovery than my husband, for example, because I recover low and he recovers fast. So really a really cool metric. The system doesn't need to use this. It just optimizes even further if your athlete chooses to do this. Okay. Swim form analysis is a form of a questionnaire which your athlete and you can fill out together, and it will tell you and your athlete where they sit within the ranges. So whether they're an overglider, a lightweight swimmer, an overkicker, or a Tarzan, or a classic swimmer. Once you've done this swim form analysis, every single one of your swim warm-ups and cool downs will be specific to the style of swimmer and the appropriate drills and exercises to do to help reduce or improve those styles of swimming. Really cool tool. I really recommend you do it for yourself, but also for your athletes, because it really makes the swim workouts really specific. And finally, this is your bike to run factor. So the system is able to show you and analyze your athlete's performance on how good they are between their cycling and their running, and how their off the bike run will be impacted. So you can see here their score, their dots, their age, and their functional threshold, which impacts their bike to run. With this particular athlete, it's turned off. You can turn it off as well, but you can also turn it on, which will impact things like how many brick runs the athlete will have, how long their brick runs will be, how long their runs will be, and whether there's a bigger emphasis on the athlete's run or bike. And last but not least, if your athletes or you have any questions and you cannot work something out or something looks wrong, please, please, please utilize this little red question button where it says questions. This is the TriDot support access portal. You can type your questions here, and if you're not quite sure that answer is accurate, you can get in touch and send the team at TriDot support any questions that you may have. Hopefully, guys, this helps you understand where everything is and what everything does. And if you have any questions, please make sure to get in touch.